On today's episode, starting a new design project the right way. All right, so I have just came back from a client where we started to work on a really awesome new project. It's quite a big project. It's a project to redesign a dashboard that's a pretty complicated project. And the person who's actually going to manage this process is Alex. She's the designer that I'm working with there. I kind of manage her, and she's going to actually run the process. So when the boss came to her and told her, all right, Alex, you're going to redesign the dashboard, how you want to manage this, she was kind of like freaked out. And so she came to me, I kind of mentor her, and then she was asking me, what the hell should I do? It's a huge project. And I started to ask her some questions, and it turned out that she didn't have answers for them. Questions like, why are we doing this right now? Why is this important? Who makes the decisions on this project? There's a lot of people involved. What's the deadline for it? And she didn't quite know. She just said, they told me to do it, and so I have to do it. And so I kind of sat her down and tried to explain to her what a project brief is and how to create this. And actually, the meeting that we had today was a meeting that she was running in order to ask all those questions to be able to actually create the brief for her. You see, without understanding what you are working with and knowing kind of the scope of the project and what are the boundaries, you can't really do good design because you don't even know what's the problem that you're trying to solve. And so the way that I explained to her to do this, there's like basically templates that people will try to fill out. I don't usually work with these templates. And usually when I do the design, when I run the process and it's a fairly, let's say a simple team, I don't really create a document that's like a design brief. I just use kind of my sketchbook and I kind of create the brief for myself right when we have our kickoff meeting. But since this is a bigger project, I kind of told her, look, you're going to run this meeting, so create a presentation that takes us like one question after another, and we're going to have a discussion about this, and we're going to all answer those questions together so that we all know that we're working towards the same goal. So basically the questions that you need to answer before you start a design project are, what is the goal of this project? Because, for example, when redesigning the dashboard, she thought that the goal is to redesign maybe one aspect of it so she can hand it off for developers to start developing, but that wasn't actually the goal of the high management. They actually wanted to kind of do a far into the future vision of what the product might look like. So those are really different goals. You can't really know how to design something if you don't understand why you're being hired to do this job. Other things that you need to know is who is going to actually use the product so that you can interview him and do a proper user research. Who's going to make the decision on this project? This is super, super important. It's really important that it will be very clear that there is one decision maker. It can be the CEO, but if there's a lot of people, just know that there's time for everybody to discuss and share their opinion, but there's only going to be one decider, and it's good that the whole team knows who's the decider for this specific project that you're going to be working on. Other things are obviously things like the scope and the deadline for the project, but those are basically the important things that you really have to understand. So the meeting went pretty well. I would say it's not 100% well because those meetings turn into long discussions because not everybody agrees on the answer to what are the goals and what is the scope and what problem we're trying to solve. And so we actually, by the end of the meeting, we didn't finish answering 100% of the question, just 70% of the question. But that's actually reasonable. You know, you're not always going to get everything, so you're going to have to maybe do a second round or follow up because yeah, sometimes that's the way meetings go. And actually, at one point in the meeting, like the head of development started to talk about features, and I kind of told him, look, dude, this is a little bit out of scope. We're trying to stay at the high level of things, so let's not go into this. And he was like, Ryan, you're not very nice. Let me speak my mind and stuff like that. But so sometimes I'm kind of rude in these meetings, but just because, as I said, there's so much to cover up, and you want to do this and be effective in your meetings. So sometimes you have to be, I don't know if rush, but really effective, and tell people to stay on focus and on track in order to get what you need. Because if we don't get, as designers, our design brief by the end of the meeting, we're not going to be able to do our job properly. So you have to help people be focused. Sometimes it creates a little bit of contradictions, but that's why, it's good that I'm Israeli and a bit of rude, and don't mind by being rude, because I need to get the job done. So I feel pretty confident that we now understand the project, that Alex has created the brief, she filled out the presentation, now she's going to send it to everybody so that we're all on the same page. Talking about this, I shared with you recently that last week or this week, I don't remember, I started to work with an intern from India who's going to help us with Prospero. And I kind of had a kickoff meeting with him, trying to explain to him what I wanted to do. I wanted him to build a new version of our How Much Should I Price calculator. And just like 2 days after, he actually sent me a design brief that he created. I didn't even tell him to create this, but I want to show this to you because he did this on, by himself. He's like 18 years old. I don't know how he knows to do these things, but that's incredible. So let me show you. Basically, he created like the brief. What is it that we're trying to do? How the calculator is gonna work? What problem are we trying to solve? How are we gonna do this? What is the goal? He called it key factors, but basically these are the goals of the project. What's the visual approach that he wants to take to make sure that we're on the same page? How we're going to market this thing? Some kind of a little bit of mood board and inspiration. I think it's super, super cool. I'm very excited about this intern. I think something really awesome is going to turn out of this. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you tomorrow.